Hello, 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 and welcome to the evening segment of Matt's podcast of ranting. Alright, so I just want to keep it real simple because this podcast is going to be dedicated to an English final that I have that I am having the blessing of being able to use this for. So, something happened to me the other day, and I just wanted to talk to you guys about this for a few seconds here. I went to this store, and I was out of town in this completely random place that I've never been to before. I leaned into this guy who was kind of near the cash register, just another customer, and I was like, "Hey, I'm from not from around the area. Can you point me to the nearest hotel?" I think that's what I was asking for. Anyway, the guy looks up from his cell phone, looks at me dead in the eyes, and he's like, "You have Google on your phone, don't you? Why don't you just Google it?" And I was like, "You know what? You're right. I could just Google it." And it didn't really strike me as rude at first, or a problem at first. However, after walking away and Googling it, I thought about it, and the way he responded to my question was in a way that you could respond to almost any question at that point in this generation, in this day and age. Someone asks you a question. Maybe they're just trying to start a conversation with you, and maybe they're just trying to find out information from another human, because that's the way they prefer to communicate. And you could pretty much answer any question with, well, why don't you just Google it? Why are you talking to me face to face? There are machines that could do that job for you. And I understand that. And I understand that we're in a generation now where people have this reliance on the cell phone and they have this reliance on technology because it's so convenient. I mean, it's not necessary to talk to people anymore, but is that a good thing? Where are we going as a community and where are we going as a society when we turn to Google for all of our life problems rather than talk to a family or a friend or even just a random stranger at a gas station? I mean, let me throw some logistics at you guys real quick. Not got them jot down, so hold on. I'm going to be looking in a couple different directions. So, in 2007, it was reported that there was only 400 million smartphone users globally. That's quite a hefty number. But taking a look at 2016, we're now looking at 2.6 billion smartphone users. That is, let me do the math, 6 times growth in the span of 9 years. That's phenomenal. That is change. That is a beautiful and scary all at once because this is something that's here to stay, and this is something that's going to do nothing but grow and grow, and unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it's going to be something that's going to grow onto us too as generations go on. I have my own mixed feelings about technology because as being part of a younger generation, obviously, I look like I'm 14, people just aren't really talking to each other anymore. And you walk past a group of teenagers, and if you would have done this in the 80s, they were probably actually having a conversation. Granted, the conversation was probably stupid because young people just don't always talk about the coolest things ever. But now, you walk past a group of teenagers or young people, and they're just looking at their phones. Or they're just comparing things on their phones with each other. And granted, it's still communication, I suppose. But where there's not going to be any opportunity for growth as far as ideas are concerned. When people are sitting there and they're looking on Twitter and they're sharing memes on Facebook, don't get me wrong, it's a great way to pass the time. And it's very comedic at times as well. However, we just need to think about it. I mean, we had all these great people and all these genius activists and scientists and people who created beautiful things and people who sparked beautiful social movements. And just look at where this country is at now. Look at where civilization is at now. And we as a whole are just sitting here looking at our cell phones and we're on Twitter and Facebook and talking about celebrities' lifestyles when that really doesn't pertain to us. And when talking about that's not really going to make a change. I mean, it just bugs me. It just really bugs me where we're going with everything. And this whole project is basically me just trying to reach out to you, to whoever's listening, to whoever's watching, to just take a step away from your phone. Just for a little bit. Maybe a day you could just text whoever you think might need to get hold of you and tell them, hey, I'm going to leave my phone at home today. I'm going to go on an adventure and I'm going to go see what I can do without it. like, take a chance. Go explore a little bit on your own. Go find out things from your own, from word of mouth of other people. It's very convenient to have everything online, but it's also a curse. I mean, the average adult spends about 2 hours and 51 minutes on their phone each day. So, if you were to take that out of the equation and simply go on an adventure on your own, that's going to be an additional 2 hours and 51 minutes that you have to do plenty of other things in the world. And you'd be surprised what cool things you could do with your free time if you had those additional few hours in your day. Well, I've rented for approximately 5 minutes and 35 seconds now. I wanted to originally put some pictures in this, but I couldn't figure it out in time, and I'm a huge procrastinator, so this is the price I pay for it. But I hope you all really got a good listen out of this. I put a lot of effort into my original paper, and I'm also going to put a lot of effort into my written editorial on this because I'm really passionate about it. And y'all going to hear about me news in the future because I'm going to do something big with those 2 hours and 51 minutes that I'm using, not on my cell phone, but rather for something actually beneficial. Thank you. Good night.